So after you've downloaded your SVGs, you're going to go ahead and open it. And I'm using the Silhouette Studio Designer Edition software. And they will appear on your mat as 12 by 12. So in order to print out your cardstock, my printer is 8.5 by 11. So I need to change my paper size, my media size on my Design Studio to 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to go ahead and add my registration marks. And you can see here, I'm just putting the design how I want it to print out. And I want to maximize my space here. So I'm trying to cut out as many templates as I can fit on one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And this is going to minimize waste, and then I'm always going to have my templates available so that at any given project I can just go ahead and trace my designs out on whatever textile I want to use at that time for my project. So you can see here I'm just rotating the designs to fit on the piece of cardstock. I have my registration marks, and you can see where the print and cut border is. So I'm just trying to keep my connector tabs within that border. These connector tabs are 5 different styles, and they are intended for 3/4 inch hardware and 1-inch hardware. I find those are what I use the most, and so that's what I've designed them as. And now I'm going to go ahead and print these templates on my cardstock. And now I have sent them to the printer. And now let's say you want to go ahead and print and cut directly on your textile, whether it be leather, vinyl, or cork. So I want to change my media to 12 by 12, and say you cut a piece of 12 by 12 leather or cork or vinyl. And if you're using all the same color, for instance, if you make a lot of black bags or a lot of tan leather bags, you can go ahead and duplicate the size you want. Say you only use 3/4 inch hardware. That's the hardware that I use the most. I'll take all the 1-inch connectors out. Here I have my templates loaded on my cutting mat, getting ready to load into my Silhouette Cameo. And here it is loaded onto the Cameo. And now it is registering my registration marks, getting ready to cut out the templates. For this example, I'm going to show you how I cut tracing my templates. So after we've already cut our cardstock templates using our cutting machine, in my case, I use my Silhouette Cameo, I'm going to use the teardrop template design in 3/4 inch hardware. So I've taken my thin piece of leather. You can take whatever piece of leather. This is just a scrap that I had to show you for demonstration purposes. And I'll take a pen and just lightly trace the design. In this case, I'm using the connector tabs, and I created it to have a 2-piece, and it's going to be really nice. So this is the bottom layer. And then I'll take the top layer, which is going to have that tab that you fold over your hardware in order to connect your strap. And this is just a nice little design to elevate your bags, take it to that next level. So here I am again, just tracing, lightly tracing with my pen and tracing over the shape of the strap connector. I'm tracing over the teardrop shape and also the tab because it's all going to be connected. This is my 3/4 inch hardware that I'm just showing you for demonstration purposes. Now I'm going to cut just inside the line of my pen mark very, very carefully. Now you can see why people like to use their cutting machines, because the cutting machines are super precise. It's going to guarantee that you are having 2 equal strap connectors, whereas when you're cutting by hand, of course, there's always, no matter how precise you are, there's always room for error. But regardless, you don't need a cutting machine. Just be very careful. Cut inside the line so you don't see it, even though technically I would edge paint this just to bring it up to that next level. Another thing that I would do is cut a piece of Decoville Heavy just inside that, and I would fuse that and stabilize it to my bag, just because straps bear most of the weight of your handbag, and you want to make sure that even though you're stitching it on, it is going to be very, very secure. So I take my Decoville Heavy about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch smaller, and I'll cut that about 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch smaller outside of the seam allowances and fuse that to the back of that bottom layer. So here I am cutting out the second part of the teardrop strap. Just again, right inside the line, slow and steady, and as precise as possible. This one is a little bit more detailed because it's got that point at the end. But I saw this on a Prada bag and I thought that is so gorgeous. So I designed it in my software and wanted to offer it. So then that's going to lay right on top. So what you do when you get ready to attach it to your panel is you stitch it, the bottom part. I would use 1/8 of an inch and get that as close to the edge as possible. And then my 3/4 inch hardware is going to go right on that tab. And it's up to you how much space you leave. But the less space that you leave, the less stress is going to have on your handles. And then you're going to go ahead and stitch that top layer as close to the edge as possible. And then I would also rivet. If you leave a little bit more space, you can do 2 rivets, but I would recommend not leaving as much space and just do 1 rivet right underneath your stitching. So just have that extra security. And, if you're using all gold hardware, put a gold rivet on there and you'll have that extra pizzazz to your bag. So pretend this scrap piece is your bag panel that you're going to be attaching your strap connector to. So you can see what it looks like. And here, of course, because nothing's stitched down, everything's falling apart, but just pretend like it's stitched down. And I'll bring the camera closer so you can see what it's going to look like. Isn't that so pretty? So I hope you enjoy these strap connectors. And I can't wait to see what you've created. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.